Only 2 days after senior Chinese and American officials met in London to discuss trade relations, remarks from top U.S. cabinet members have revived concerns in Beijing. While the talks were seen as an attempt to reduce tensions, subsequent statements by U.S. officials suggest that deeper structural disagreements remain unresolved. The U.S. Treasury Secretary called on China to demonstrate its commitment to the agreements reached, particularly the terms of a rare earth supply arrangement. Washington has requested that China take practical actions to prove it is a dependable economic partner. Simultaneously, the U.S. Commerce Secretary reflected on the negotiations, praising American leverage and criticizing Chinese requests to loosen export restrictions. During the London dialogue, Chinese representatives reportedly urged the U.S. to reconsider existing export controls on high-tech products such as semiconductors and advanced chips. These goods, while essential to many civilian technologies, remain tightly restricted under current American policies. In response, a senior U.S. official dismissed the request by drawing a controversial comparison between consumer-grade technology and sensitive military hardware, suggesting hypothetically that the U.S. could ask to import hypersonic missiles from China. Beijing has rejected this comparison as misleading. Chinese analysts argue that consumer-level technology exports, like graphic processing units, cannot be equated with strategic weapons systems. They further note that China has never sought to purchase advanced American military assets, just as it is unlikely that the U.S. would ever offer to export items such as stealth bombers or nuclear-powered carriers. In China's view, this rhetorical stance reflects an unwillingness by the U.S. to engage in fair and reciprocal trade practices. Chinese officials maintain that while the U.S. expects continued access to rare earth minerals, where China commands approximately 90% of global production, it simultaneously enforces broad restrictions on the export of advanced technology to China, further straining the atmosphere. The U.S. Commerce Secretary warned that if China fails to fully comply with the rare earth agreement, the U.S. may tighten restrictions on a broader range of exports, including chemicals and aviation components. He described China's current rare earth technology as outdated, downplaying Beijing's dominant position in the supply chain. In response, Chinese officials have called for mutual respect and faithful implementation of the understandings reached in London. Beijing's post-summit statement emphasized integrity and expressed hope that the U.S. would honor its commitments in both word and deed. However, recent developments have fueled skepticism in China about Washington's intentions. Economists in China suggest that the country has been preparing for such scenarios. They cite data showing that despite increased tariffs introduced by the U.S. in April, China's foreign trade performance has remained stable. In the first 5 months of the year, total trade reached nearly 18 trillion yuan, marking a year-on-year increase of 2.5%. Export volume in May alone rose by over 6%. These figures, observers say, indicate that Chinese exporters have successfully diversified markets and adapted to external pressures. The growth in exports despite tariff hikes is viewed as a signal that China's economy is capable of weathering U.S. trade measures. From Beijing's perspective, this reduces the leverage that Washington hoped to maintain through economic pressure. While China continues to advocate for balanced and constructive dialogue, officials warn that they will not compromise under coercion. Whether or not the U.S. will seek renewed talks under different terms may ultimately depend on how both sides reassess the cost of continued tension.